there's a story that I want to share with you, and it's about the difference between hard love and easy love, between agape love, which is difficult love, impersonal love, spiritual love, divine love, unconditional love, and philia, which is the Greek word used in the Bible for unconditional like, friendship, easy love, personal love. And they're both used, and they're both very, very important. You know, there's the easy love. It's something that's easily accessed. When it says Jesus loved John, his beloved disciple. You know, he played favorites. On the level of philia, you could have favorites, and John was his favorite, and made some of the others jealous. And then there was the circle of the four who he would take with him on special outings, and the other ones would get. So he had this, and it was called philia love. It was a specific kind of love, and the Bible just says love, but it's a friendship love. It's about, you know, they're buddies, they're pals, they're close, they like each other. It's unconditional like. Then there's love, which is harder sometimes. Sometimes it's a harder one love. It's a unconditional love. It's agape love. It's love your neighbor as yourself. It's love your enemies. It's all that kind of stuff. And one of the big problems we have, and I have had in my life, is I didn't know the difference. I was just told love everybody, and I got myself in trouble a lot. So this is kind of an apropos story. When I moved to Florida, I went out to the Everglades, and there's the Miccosukee tribe. And I admit that I went to see an alligator wrestling match in the Miccosukee tribe. This is before Lynn came down, and we got married. And after we watched this guy wrestle this alligator, there was a question and answer time, and this woman thought, I think, that she was being cute. And so she, asked me, well, I see that you're wearing a necklace of alligator teeth. We wear necklaces of pearls. They're kind of like our pearls, aren't they? And he said, no, ma'am. No? Anybody can open an oyster. So, you've got your hard love and your easy love. You've got your pearls and you've got your alligator teeth. And, it almost fits, doesn't it? Sort of. It's close. But here's another analogy. Somebody once said there's sometimes with loving another person, it's like trying to eat a coconut. If you try to bite it from the outside, you break your teeth, but you got to get in the inside, get in the inner stuff. This is unconditional love, not unconditional like. And this is in the Bible, the difference between philia and agape. Now there's 4 words in Greek. Oh, here's my nerd time here. 4 words in Greek for love, but 2 of them aren't in the Bible. So we're not going to talk about storge or eros. Definitely not talking about eros. But we are going to talk about philia and agape, and they're both mentioned, and they're both very important. And a picture came to me of the Christian cross, and the vertical axis of it, which is longer, is the agape, the divine love, the spiritual love. And the horizontal axis, which is shorter, is the personal love, the like. I like this person. I like it. And it's okay to like. And you can set boundaries and you can do things on that level. But the other level is something that's unconditional and limitless. And to be able to know the difference. I didn't know the difference. I didn't know the difference when I went to my first church. I thought, I went to my first church, this is 37 years ago, and I knew my job was to love everybody. And I knew I'd love them and they'd all love me back. It lasted about a week. I was 27 years old, and the average age in that church was 50 years older than me easily, and I'm up near that age now, so I understand, I'm being empathetic with that, but it was kind of rough, and it didn't work that way, and I found that, sometimes people would come in, and after things kind of shook out, they would have friends who were unhappy, and they didn't come to church, they had no interest in coming to the church, but they would send me to go visit their friends. Because they tried to fix their friends and it didn't work, so now they're trying to give them over to me. People who are about fixing people, they find out that it doesn't work too well. And if you've wanted me to go visit your friend, well, sometimes that didn't work for you, and maybe it won't work for me either. So I would go visit these people because I didn't know any better. And without exception, they were at least withdrawn and unfriendly. Or even hostile, because who wants to be fixed? Who wants to get fixed? And so this thing would happen over and over again, and so I went into prayer. What is going on, God? Why is this so weird? And I got, never visit anybody who doesn't ask for themselves unless they're not able to. They might be in a coma or something. And never visit anybody who is ambulatory and can come on their own. This is oh my gosh, unconditional love has boundaries on the level of philia. I can love them from afar, but it's not about fixing everybody. So this can be challenging. Every time I give a talk on this kind of thing, it's challenging to some people. But look, it's going to keep you from trying to bite the coconut from the outside. These are the difference between the vertical and the horizontal axis. Is the difference between personal and impersonal love. Now, impersonal love, agape love, sounds kind of cold, doesn't it? Sounds kind of like you got to be kind of a cold fish. No, it's great compassion, great love. It's the kind of love that, it said Jesus loved Judas. Oh my gosh, how did he love Judas? But he loved him. Loved him so much he said, go do what you got to do and do it quickly. Imagine that. Loving without any expectation of return. Like my dad would take me to see Uncle Lester, and Uncle Lester didn't have much left up here. But we would love him, and we'd sit with him, and we'd be with him, and we'd love him. And I enjoyed it. It wasn't just an adventure. It was something to just kind of sit with him. But in your life, where can you love the difficult person? Where can you love the hard love? And realize that when you think it's difficult, sometimes it's you. When I was in ministerial school, we had 5 full-time faculty members. And I don't remember when it happened, but there was a group of us who were around when there were no teachers around. We were talking about which of the teachers really grinded our aura. It's like, oh. And we found out that everybody had a different teacher. It wasn't about them, it was about us. And I remember the one that I had a hard time with, my best friend thought she was kind of cute. I remembered that, and I used that to do some treatment work, and it helped me. And the one that he didn't like, well, I'd known her for years, and I just thought, that's just her. So, and everybody had a different one, and then people would tell me about ones that, there's nothing, how could you feel that way? But it's that unconditional love. You see, the purpose of life on earth is to teach us how to love. When the roll is called up yonder, when your physical life is over, the evaluation of your life and the high points and the great, great moments of triumph in your life will be those times when it was you loved that person when they were hard to love. And so my friend we had a speech class the first year of ministerial school, and the teacher had been my Youth of Unity sponsor, and I'd known her for years, and we used to call her Sarge. But I thought she was just fine, even though my friend who got the second lowest grades in speech class, even though he was an excellent speaker, because the way she did her class was you had all these very rigid requirements. She'd give you points on all of them, and if you would hew to that line, you'd get a high grade. Never mind whether your talk was engaging or interesting or had any consciousness or not. But it was the first year, and she actually was a good speech teacher. Her idea was, we're going to give you the building blocks. Next year they got a different speech teacher, and we'll take it to the other thing. So he was the second lowest grade in the class, and he just could not stand this woman. And his wife said to him, why don't you just sit there and bathe her in pink light? Bathe her in pink light. And and he read an affirmation from Catherine Ponder, and I had to write it down because I didn't use this, he did. Divine love is doing its perfect work in you and through you now. Divine love is doing its perfect work in me and through me now. And he did that, bathing her in pink light. Divine love is doing its perfect work in me and through me now. Together. Divine love is doing its perfect work in me and through me now. And now for some of us, divine love is doing its perfect work in you and through you now. Together. Divine love is doing its perfect work in you and through you now. And so he did that work, and he just kind of fell in love with her. She still didn't give him any good grades. He got the second most. Oh, I got the lowest grades in the class, by the way. But I still thought she was cute, and she knew me from way back. She'd been my union sponsor. She knew I was hopeless. So she and I got along fine. But he went out and got some sergeant stripes, like some official ones from the Army, and got them verithed onto a plaque and gave it to her, and she put it proudly in her office. And she was a terrific speech teacher. She really was. She just graded this way. The next year, we had a different speech teacher who was he let us fly free, and I got the highest grades and he got the second highest grades in the class. Go to figure. It's not about getting a specific result. Now, I had a tough teacher, and one I didn't like was the one who wanted everybody to take notes in the class, and then for those of us, we were always the younger ones, because we were more of a do-your-own-thing generation. So we'd have to show her our notes after the class, and she would have to approve whether or not we'd taken sufficient notes and they were right all the way. Well, you can imagine that. So, and I remember thinking to myself, I would take notes for you if you said anything in class and I really wanted to. I never told her that, but I'm sure, the vibration and the energy, she knew that. So she'd call us in one by one. And we remember sitting in a row of us. We'd go in for these things. She told us, if you don't start doing this, you're going to, I'm going to tell them to expel you. I'm going to tell them to expel you. And I just went in meditation. And some of the other ones said, okay. And I just looked at her. I said, well, go ahead, see how it works. And you know what happened? I remember my friend saying, I think she's cute. She's just cute. And I just started thinking she was cute. I put a pink light around her thinking she was cute. And they asked her not to come back the next quarter because I wasn't the only one that she did this to. And it's not about getting a specific outcome. It's about finding peace. And I found peace with it. It was like, whatever, whatever. So my point being, sometimes it's easy love. Sometimes it's hard love. Sometimes it's love that we like. Sometimes it's love we don't like. Jesus said love was the most important thing. There was a lawyer, a canon lawyer, which means somebody who was an expert in the law telling everybody what they could and couldn't do because they were the ones that knew the laws, because they were very orthodox. And he went to Jesus and he said, Jesus, what's the most important law? And Jesus said, hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is one God, and you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. This is the greatest commandment of all. And the man said, wow, that's good. You were telling us right when you say that there's only one God, and you should love that God with your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and that you should love your neighbor, and that's greater than all the burnt sacrifices and offerings that anyone could give. And Jesus looked at him and said, with this presence of mind, you're close to the kingdom. You're not far from the kingdom. And after that, it said, nobody dared to ask him any questions. Now, why would that shut him up? Because love's the last word. It really is. Love is the fulfillment of the law. You can't argue with love. You can't argue with love. You can't. People can try. Love, remember St. Augustine, who was a pretty tough guy. I don't agree with everything he wrote, but he said one thing. He said, love, and then do what you will. And Jesus said over and over again, love is the fulfillment of the law. He said, I didn't come to break the law, I came to fulfill the law. And yet he broke the law over and over and over again. The literal law. He's always doing something to get himself in trouble, breaking that literal law. But he never said, I never broke the law. Why didn't he break the law when he broke the law? It's a paradox, yes, but also because he was loving. He was loving. And when you love, it's the completion. And, Lynn teaches love and logic. We practice love and logic parenting, and we believe in having just a few very, strong rules. And you don't have a million of them, but you have them, and you're very consistent and consistent. But every so often, love fulfills the law, and you gotta get off of it, and because love's telling you to do something else. Don't do that all the time, or you're just a bad parent. But, that love is a fulfillment of the law. So love. You say, well, I don't want to love that person. I don't want to love that person. Well, you don't want to philia that person. You don't have to philia that person. You don't have to like that person. You don't have to unconditional like that person. You do have to love them, agape them, impersonal, divine love. I remember when I first, wow, I must have said something good. So I remember when I was teaching the Youth of Unity, and I was my first time I ever taught the Youth of Unity about forgiveness. And, I love the Youth of Unity because they're teenagers, so they'll tell you exactly what they think. And I used to run the Youth of Unity, and I'd bring in these high-powered, famous ministers, and some of them would do so well with them. Some of them, it was brutal because if they weren't real, the kids didn't want to hear about it. So anyway, I was telling them about forgiveness. Sounded good. And I had two questions. One of them said, somebody's, picking on me and beating me up. You want me to forgive that person? I can't forgive that person. And I said, forgiveness is sometimes a big part of forgiveness and loving a person is not putting up with indignities. And sometimes you have to take action, but you do it in love. Unconditional love is not unconditional like. And so, I told him, I said, if your dog is biting you, Sometimes the best thing to do before you forgive them is take the teeth out of your leg. You know, there's a time to take action. But the love is not for them, it's for you. And then another question, I remember this was, I didn't know how to answer this at first. And then it came through me. The person said, well, I don't trust the person. How can I forgive them if I don't trust them? I can't trust them, you know. And I said, you know, trust is earned over time. Love is unconditional. But that's not the same thing as trust. That's the philia love, the easy love. And trust and reconciliation is earned after a long period of trust, but that isn't always available. Sometimes, as my friend said, you have to back far enough away to really love someone, and that doesn't mean that you are cold. It just means that you are taking care of yourself. You have boundaries. Philia is boundaries. Agape is unconditional. And they got it. They got it because it's true. It's practical. It works well with politics. You know? And we can like and dislike and have opinions and do whatever, but on a spiritual level, everybody's God's child. It's really this is the great year for you learning how to love. I'm telling you. But it really is. I'll tell you why. Because it's always been like this. Love has always been hard. The curriculum of life has never been easy. It's always been like this. Just read your history books and you'll see. Read your biographies and you'll see. Everybody's in this together. We're all here in the process of opening our hearts. So how do we deal with a person? Whether they're easy or hard, how do we love them? Well, we tried that in our meditation. You know, sometimes you just breathe in, I am, and breathe out, you. I am you. Now you say, but I'm not you. On the level of agape, you are. On the level of philia, you're not. On the spiritual level, you are one with them. You know, the whole universe is made of love. If you go back to the very first moment of creation, when space and time themselves were created, the state that exists is called officially by the physicists unity. They stole our name. And the reason why they called it that is because there were no separate particles, no differentiation between particles. Everything was just one. And then it expanded. They say Big Bang, but it didn't really explode. It's expanded and made everything out of that oneness. It's almost like we have this desire to experience the primordial oneness, our true essence, our true nature. It's a part of us that knows that we're one. And if the better boundaries you have, the more one you can be. And that's kind of an interesting thing. The better you handle your philia, the better your agape will be. So, I am you. Sometimes you can put them in the hands of God and see pink light coming down. Sometimes you just center them in the love and light of God. And you don't expect them to change to satisfy you. You can let them be who they choose to be. And you do what's best for them and for you. It's unconditional love that wants the highest good. It's wanting the highest good. If you want to know, did I forgive this person? Ask yourself, if I had a little switch and I could decide whether or not a person got a hidden secret blessing and they knew I had nothing to do with it, would I give it to it or them, or would I withhold it from them? Yeah, you know, would you receive with? Well, they don't deserve it. Well, remember what Jesus said? I love what he said. I'm going to read it to you. You've heard in your law, love your neighbors and hate your enemies. And I'm telling you, love your enemies and pray for everyone who mistreats you, because then you'll be acting like God. God makes the sun rise on the good and the bad, sends the rain to those who do right and wrong. And if you love only those people that love you, what's good is that? Even the corrupt tax collectors love their friends. If you greet only your friends, what's so great about that? Don't even Gentiles do that? But you must always act in the same perfect way as God. You know? You can't change other people with your love, but you can change yourself. And maybe a door will open, like with my friend and his teacher. And he had a great experience of her. And even my teacher, who was invited, not invited back, she and I, we knew each other for years thereafter, and we got along great and had a really warm friendship. But that doesn't mean you're supposed to be friends, because that's philia, okay? So don't feel guilty if you don't achieve that, because that's not necessarily in the cards. I'm trying to say that because I know somebody's going to walk out here feeling guilty. Because it's not about that. It's about loving and loosing them and letting them go and letting the results be what they are. Eric Butterworth was really good on this. He said, you can't change anyone, but you can change your experience of them, which is the only reality you have anyway. And so let's move into this divine love, this agape love, and just kind of join with me and just start breathing quietly in your heart, In, I am, out, you. And however you like to center these individuals that come to mind in the love and light of God. I am you. And just breathe with I am you. And know that on the spiritual level, on the inside, on the higher level, agape love, all is oneness, all is forgiveness. All is one. There is no separation on this love. There's only the love of God. I am you. On the spiritual level, there is only oneness. We are grounded in the essence of love, of pure being. And we're lifted into the love of God. And when we don't know how to love, we can say, God, I don't know how to love, but you do. So show me how you love, and I'll love them like that. We're willing to take care of ourselves, set the boundaries we need to set. In so doing, we can open our hearts in the inner, in the safety of this inner love. And we say, thank you, God. And so it is. Oh, now as we take a deep breath and we let it out, and setting aside all the papers in our fingers so that our hands are open. We just move into a present moment experience. We take the thought, what is love? What is love? And we remember that fish swimming through the ocean don't necessarily think about what is water, and yet it's the medium in which they exist. And divine love is what made us, what sustains us, that out of which everything is made, the love, creative love, the all-pervasive love. So once again, take another deep breath and let it out. And drop down into the presence of your being, the ground of being, rooting yourself in divine love. Feel yourself supported from within and uplifted by the wholeness, the oneness, the state of unity that is God. The seeking of making all one. The reconciliation, the forgiveness, that is what you're made out of. Blend energies with the who that you are, the divine love. You are made of love. And so you're worthy. You're valuable. Blend energies with that love that gives you a sense of peace, quiet, well-being. Merge and blend your energy with divine love, the flowing, the undergirding, the uplifting ground of your being. You are rooted in, it's the foundation. Underneath are the everlasting arms of God, and these arms are love. And now lift up into the higher love that says, I love my neighbor as myself. As you breathe in, breathe I am. As you breathe out, breathe you. The I am you-ness. Of divine love. Each time you breathe in, I am. Each time you blend and merge, blending the essence of divine love with each and every soul in your heart. Center each soul in the love and light of God. Perhaps you may wish to place each soul in the hands of God with the pink light coming down on it, or the great heart of God in the center, centering the love and the light. I am you. I am you. When we pray, I am now in the presence of pure being, we're praying, I am you, the pure being that we share together, the pure being that is God. We are grounded and held up by divine love. We are lifted into the shared experience of divine love. We are that love. That love is us. As the sign said, God is love, and versifies it. So as we bring ourselves back into the presence of this room, we move, we dwell, we blend, we swim in divine love. Thank you, God. So we're going to give in love and receive abundantly. I give in love and I receive abundantly. Take your offering and just place your love in it, because it will multiply and increase the goodness of the flow and the circulation. I give in love and I receive abundantly. Together.
I give in love and I receive abundantly.
And silently. Again, aloud together.
I give in love and I receive abundantly.
And so it is. Amen.